Back. Hey, hi Rachel.
Hello, I'm back.
Hi. Yeah, welcome back, and you're on. Yay! Hey, I am going to apologize to all our fans out there because last week it was my total goofballness. All I had to do was, I'm being totally honest here, which and vulnerable. Don't make fun of me. Uh, all I had to do was turn up the volume on my computer. Oh,
Well, I can't believe I didn't think of that to say to you. Like, hey, check your volume.
well, why would you? Because duh. Anyway, here we are.
Here we are. We're back.
Um, and so, Rachel, we're talking about Michael Pollan's food rules. Yes, and what's the chapter?
Okay.
I love last week's chapter about the blue milk, but
I know that was kind of fun because everybody knows what it's like to have your milk turn colors from your cereal. So this is everyone knows. I know everyone knows.
yes.
Okay, so we are on chapter 37, and
Yes.
the chapter is the whiter the bread, the sooner you'll be dead.
Okay.
Little sing-songy. But what's funny is he calls it Jewish and Italian grandmother advice that has been passed down. So um, it's just a cute little, rhyme to kind of remember. And it's not like we've never talked about this before, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what do we want? How can we expand on this?
Right. Good. 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 Well, right. I think people have a reasonable understanding that white sugar,
Mm-hmm.
white flour
Mm-hmm.
are nutrient void, right? They're devoid of nutrition, right?
Totally. Mm-hmm. And the only way that they have any nutrition is because the manufacturers strip all the nutrition out, process it, and then they sprinkle in some supplements,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
it can have some nutrients and some folate and some vitamins and things to
Right.
help prevent people from becoming deficient because they're eating a totally deficient food. So they had to
Right.
add some stuff back in.
Yeah. Right.
But it's not there naturally.
No, it's not there naturally. And what I'm wondering is how well it's absorbed. I don't know.
Right. Great
Did they
point.
do those kind of studies to say once they added back, then it's
Yeah.
absorbed?
Great
I don't
point.
know.
Right, because we have to remember that any nutrient that we're taking outside of its natural form is
Mhm.
not as bioavailable because
Right.
the way it comes naturally in a food is meant to be done naturally, right?
Right.
It's meant to be put in there naturally. So, yeah, great point. I don't know the answer to that for sure, but
Mhm.
I think it probably has prevented a lot of people from having folate deficiency, and then in pregnancy, that's so important. And I think that the FDA has tried to help fortify foods to
Right.
prevent
Yeah.
certain things.
Right.
But
Right.
this is not a health food.
No. No. Okay. Here, I'm all of a sudden getting cold. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yes. She's
I
got
had
her.
my door open to get some fresh air, but that was
Yeah.
enough fresh air apparently.
Yes, I was in my garden for lunch during my lunch hour.
Oh,
I had
nice.
my earbuds in, and I was tilling and putting compost in. Oh,
Oh, nice. Where you get? Yeah, we'll talk later. But I did that. I dug out my garden last weekend.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I need some good soil to amend.
Well, yeah,
soil.
I've got my own compost bin, but it doesn't make
Of
that
course.
much. So I'll have to buy some extra, soil and things. But it's just so
So it's all your leaves and
and
we're kind
all
of
of
getting
our.
off track here, but that's okay. but
This is I think
it's
this
all
is
your
wonderful.
leaves and all the maybe you probably don't have very many rotting vegetables in your refrigerator, but
No, but it does happen, and it's like the end of an onion,
right, yeah, yeah, the
and
scraps, yeah,
the parts you don't use.
right,
And so all of the vegetable scraps go in the garden. The things that I don't use for a broth go in
hmm
the garden, and
right,
then we have leaves left over from the fall. And then when we don't have leaves, because you need brown, which is the carbon,
hmm
um, then we add paper sacks and cardboard, though they're
yeah,
not as great as leaves. They don't break down as quickly, and
sure, sure.
but it's so anyway. I got my fresh air too at
Okay,
lunch.
awesome.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, so white. Well, what I was gonna
Mhm.
make sure it's not just the white bread, right? It's like crackers. A lot of us love crackers, and unfortunately, crackers it's the same. the same
Right.
deal. It's just white.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Even if it looks like it's got seeds and nuts, look at the ingredient list. If
Mhm.
it's not whole wheat flour
Mhm.
or whole something flour, then it's
Right.
going to be a white process enriched. And enriched is not a good word. When it says
No.
enriched flour, that doesn't mean it's like really wealthy.
Right. Yes.
Right. Right.
Yes. And even if it's grain free, for example, like or gluten free, or like the rice flour crackers,
Right.
also
Processed.
not good. Totally
Right.
processed. Right. And one way to tell is to look at the fiber content.
Mhm.
Right. And so, right, if you look at the total carbs
Mhm.
on your
Here, let's do this. I'm going to show
oh, awesome.
our Dave's Ezekiel bread, right?
Good for you. Okay, yeah, total
So
carbs.
let me see if I can do this so you can.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So look at total carbs on there. I can't see it. 13,
13.
and then look at the fiber. How many
This one's
fibers?
not so great.
This one has 2. So I know.
Ooh,
So
we got the wrong one. See, this happens. I think this is a great example though, because we always go for the Dave's Killer. And if you're not paying attention and you grab the wrong one, you think, oh, all of Dave's Killer bread is good.
right.
No, because the other one, the one I wanted was the one that has the 5 grams of dietary fiber. And this is not the right one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so even the best, it sneaks past the best of us. So
Yep.
yeah, but most of the time, for example, if that only had 1, gram of fiber, like most, even if you're whole, even if it says a wheat bread, even if it says wheat bread, that does not mean healthy bread.
Right.
It has to really say whole grain or whole wheat, right?
And this does. The first ingredient is organic whole wheat flour.
Okay.
So if you're only paying attention to the ingredients, you might think good to go. But I would say this does not have enough dietary fiber to be a bread that, I can't believe we grabbed the wrong one. It's a great reminder, Rachel. I still have to keep checking to make sure I'm grabbing the right one. So, and manufacturers change their products all the time.
Oh, wow.
So you might grab something you're used to eating all the time, and it used to have 5 grams of fiber, and they redid it, and now it's not. So you just have to keep checking it.
Yeah, good point. That's a great point, because they're constantly refreshing, going back to the drawing board, or their food sciences people, and wanting to make it taste better or have a better appeal or something like that. So yeah. And so what I would point out about that carb fiber ratio, usually, I don't know if we said this before, but when you take out the fiber, so some people do net carbs or whatever, so that's the total carbs minus the fiber, so on that would be 11. And then to find out how much sugar is in there, I usually divide by 4 grams of sugar per teaspoon. And so 11 divided by 4 is almost 3 teaspoons of sugar in that particular bread.
Yes.
So, but the other thing that I do is I make sure that for every 6 grams of carbohydrate, now this takes a little math here, there's at least 1 gram of dietary fiber in a bread like that.
Say that again, for every how many?
So for every 6 grams of carbohydrate, I want 1 gram of dietary fiber, and that's going to help slow that breakdown process. And, first of all, it's going to have enough fiber to help feed my gut. And then it's going to help also slow the breakdown process and slow the rise of blood sugar.
So this was too bad, right? This was not too bad. And what was great about what you said is you said about 3 grams of sugar, right? And not all products have this, but this does show the total sugars, and it says 3. So for people who are wondering how you find the total sugars, if it's on, you can see it. It says total sugars 3.
All right. Now I'm gonna add to that. So what I always think of when I'm gonna add to that. So 3 grams of sugar, but I'm gonna add that. That's what was added to it. That's the sugar that's added to it. So, but the flour itself can act like sugar when it does not have fiber.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I do the division, and I think because so it's I don't know what a gram looks like, maybe, right? But I know what a teaspoon looks like.
Right.
So I always think about how many teaspoons of sugar, if I went to the sugar bowl,
Yeah.
how many teaspoons of sugar would I be eating? And
Right.
yeah,
Right.
so
Yeah.
so that one would be like 3 teaspoons of sugar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So and that's not something that I would do.
Right.
In
Right.
general. Yeah.
Right. And certainly not daily or multiple times a day.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So what are the products that we're talking about when we're talking about white refined flour? You
Mhm.
mentioned crackers.
Right.
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
Right. Almost all of them.
Now you found a good one.
Yes. So I think it's called Mary's.
Mary's. Yeah.
Mary's crackers. I don't remember what the crackers are called, but the brand is called Mary's. I found them at Costco. I haven't found them at other stores yet, but there is no flour. It's all seeds and like whole grains. Like they're delicious. However, I will say, be careful as you chew because they're pretty right. I'm like, ooh, don't break a tooth. I'm getting to that age where I don't want to break a tooth.
I've done that before, not on a cracker, but I have broken a tooth. It is not fun.
Not fun, but they are really delicious. No flour. So those are a really nice find.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else? Crackers, certainly breads, but what else?
Right. Pastas, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Because a lot of our pastas, they're pretty much not a lot of fiber in them.
Right.
So when they're made with the durum wheat, or I think that's
semolina or durum,
right.
But you can find whole wheat, and you can also find lentil and garbanzo bean and chickpea pastas, right? So they're going to be better, and they're not going to have, or they are going to have a lot of protein and fiber. So that's going to be a nice swap out for that regular old white pasta.
Exactly. And they taste good, and there's always more. I mean, they're always coming out with more. So variety, I guess, is the because when I first started eating them, but recently they're really good. Actually, Costco has a red lentil pasta right now that's
so good.
Yeah.
Yes, we love that, and the garbanzo bean pasta we love. And you know how you're supposed to cook pasta al dente anyway? It's supposed to be kind of chewy, not soggy. Right. Some of these pastas have that kind of chewy al dente, and they're so good.
They are good, and you feel good about eating them because, like you said, not just that fiber, and but you're getting more of the protein.
They're so filling. The one I'm thinking of in particular is like the spiral pasta from Costco. I think it's the chickpea, and it's so filling. It's like a quarter of a cup of them with sauce and stuff, and you think it's not very much, but they sit in your gut like a little bomb. They're like, poof. That's food.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Your ribs.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So white flour, cracker, bread, pasta, and anything that's going to be in a chippy kind of a thing, that's pretty much.
Right. Yeah. So what is it with chips? Because, you can look at a potato chip and it'll say like potatoes, oil, salt. Like some of the potato chips are really simple, 3 ingredients. So how do we think of those? Because it doesn't say wheat or flour.
Yeah.
What's
well, so this is in my mind, a lot of times the potato that they use is hybridized, and so it has a higher sugar content than, I don't know, your organic yellow or purple potato.
Yeah.
And then, of course, then it's deep fried, which is not
right. Right. Now we have an inflammatory process going on, omega-6s, bad oils.
Right. And then salted, which makes it addictive. Yeah.
And oil, right?
And oil, right.
The salt. You don't have any sugar, but you definitely got the salt and the oil that are making it very addictive.
Right.
Well, I guess the sugar is naturally from the potato carbohydrate, but
right.
And then certainly anything that's baked goods, they're all going to be white flour, right? They're all going to be a high processed flour. Right.
Well, yeah, you said earlier, croissant.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
delicious, but
Right. And it's easy to think of that as a dessert and as a treat and sugar, but I think sometimes we forget that it's sugar and white processed flour, right?
Right.
These baked goods have both. So
Yeah.
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 So,
So
I like that he says people, I mean, he ends it with people who eat lots of whole grains tend to be healthier and live longer. That feels nice. Yeah. So
and thankfully, there's lots of choices out there right now for
really
us.
there really are. And I think a lot of the ancient grains and a lot of the less processed and lost grains are coming back. They're harvesting those again. They're using them as cover crops, and they're understanding that they're way more sustainable than your standard wheat or something. And you're seeing things made with things like teff and Becca, I was looking online at some different grains yesterday, and there were things I'd never even heard of before.
Yeah.
Amaranth is a great one. So some have higher protein than others, but just a nice variety is coming around.
Yeah, we go to this bakery in Corvallis called Alpine Bakery.
Oh.
They're only open on Fridays and Saturdays. Anyway, they use einkorn flour.
Yes.
Yeah, which is an ancient grain.
Yes.
And the bread from it is so dense. I mean, it's not this fluffy white stuff. I mean, yeah, it is just so dense.
It's so dense. And it makes me think of, we talk about meat, and if you can find a local farmer, right, who's organic and he's growing the cattle and raising them on the local grass, and and the same thing can be, true about if you can find like bakeries or we have a friend who's a baker, and he makes us a 4-flour loaf of bread. He puts nuts and seeds and all sorts of things in it, but he does 4 different ancient flours, and einkorn is one of the main flours that he uses.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's really good.
Anne is asking about sprouted flour. Is sprouted flour any better?
Ooh.
And I would say yes, because from that seed, then you planted the seed and let it sprout, and then you're using that sprout. So it's actually, I don't know if it's considered flourless, because the flour is going to be from the seed or the grain. And so this is from the grass that came after the grain, and it's going to, so the nutrients are going to be a little bit different. Actually, I think it's going to have a little more protein in it, maybe a little less carbohydrate. Maybe because if they use the grass from that, then or the sprout from that's going to have a little more fiber, a little more cellulose. Interesting. So I eat Ezekiel bread, which is a sprouted bread, and it does have good protein and fiber in it. So I think that's a great point. Sprouted bread.
Yeah, good. It's a good choice, definitely. Yeah. Nice. Thanks for that question.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So well, Rachel, now that we've talked all about all things white flour, what are you having for dinner tonight?
So for dinner tonight, I think, it's probably going to be a little bit of a smorgasbord. We've got some leftover veggie soup that my sister had made for us. It was like an Italian vegetable with cabbage and every single vegetable you can think of. It's like a kitchen sink soup with some of that einkorn bread. So some of us will have some leftover of that, and then I'm going to also roast a bunch of veggies. It's getting to the point, of the week in my fridge where I'm like, I have like a couple of potatoes. I've got a bell pepper. I've got a half of an onion. Like we need to go grocery shopping. Yeah. But if I throw it all together in a big veggie bake, it can make something really nice. So I'm going to make a big veggie bake.
Cool. Yeah. So I am going to have to do some scrambling too, because, for whatever reason, things really are tasting still kind of flat. So whatever I do, I think I might have to make a spaghetti and use that red lentil pasta, but it's going to have to be heavily spiced.
Right. Maybe some vinegar, right?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, use some
Actually,
vinegar.
that's what I'm drinking in my water right now, is a little vinegar in my water, because I just need to taste something.
Yeah.
Everything's gone a little bit flat, but I think it's that will be on the mend here anytime now, anytime.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for discussion today, and until next time.
Take care, everybody.
Yep. Bye bye.
Bye.